So I want to welcome everybody to the Healthy Aging class. Today we're going to be working on compassion and gratitude, time of year for that, the holiday season. So we're going to start today in crocodile. We're going to take our folded blanket and we're going to place it underneath our pelvis. So I'll demonstrate it, but I'm going to be talking, so I'm going to come out of it. But you're going to take your pelvis, you're going to place your pelvis right over that blanket. Take your hands to your elbows. You're welcome to take your legs wide and turn your toes out. Place your forehead on your forearms. And there you have it. If you don't like the blanket, feel free to do crocodile without the blanket. If for any reason this pose just is not for you, that's fine. Just come onto your back, place your feet on the floor, and be in constructive rest pose. By having the blanket underneath your pelvis, it gives you a little bit of a lift, so it becomes a little bit easier to find your breath. It also releases your back a little bit more. So just start to get comfortable there. And then today, I want to have a practice on compassion and gratitude. 'Tis the season, is it not? I hope everybody had a marvelous, quiet, uneventful Thanksgiving. And now that we are in the holiday month, this is the time that we always hear about giving. You know, we're getting lots of emails to give, and today is Giving Tuesday. But when we give, it's also important to give, in air quotes, to yourself. If we don't give to ourselves and we're always giving to others, we become actually challenged within ourselves. We become depleted. We become sometimes resentful. It feels good to give. So why not give to yourself? So as you are approaching this practice, and as you're in either restorative crocodile, Matsyendrasana, or you're in constructive rest pose on your back, begin to notice your breathing. When you provide yourself the ability to rest in your breath, you're giving to yourself. You find compassion within yourself for that giving. In order to feel comfortable to give, you have to understand your own sufferings. That's what allows us to understand other people's sufferings. And we don't want to just deal with that at this time of year, although we do hear about it much more. And especially with everything that's going on in your lives and around the world today, it becomes more important than ever to give to yourself and not to forget yourself in the giving that you give to others, no matter what it is that you're doing. As you stay in crocodile, you begin to notice that the breath has begun to change. That change brings an awareness within you that allows you to sense and feel certain things inside of you. We want to take that awareness into our practice on our mat today. We want to take that awareness into our daily life. Now, many of you have a tremendous amount of compassion, as I feel I do. What gets us there is understanding our own suffering. But we don't want to suffer. This is why we do yoga. There is a saying in yoga, and it is part of the yamas, which is one of the restraints of life from a yoga perspective. And that is practicing ahisma. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Whew, excuse me. Little dainty sneeze. Now, ahisma means non-harming. And oftentimes we think of that, oh, excuse me, we think of that as we're not going to hurt others. But here's what I want to share with you before we come out of the posture we're in. Oftentimes we try too hard to do what is being taught. So today is about learning about how maybe to do a posture or how not to do the posture, but to do it in a way that makes sense to you. I'm going to join you now as we're all going to roll onto our backs in constructive rest pose. So have a blanket or your blocks underneath you. We are around you. We will be putting them underneath us in a little bit, but not first. So I'm going to move my blanket and I'm going to just rest on the floor. And just take a moment here to really feel like you can rest. So rock your pelvis from side to side, lifting one buttocks and then the other. Maybe rock your head from side to side. Wiggle around. Do whatever is necessary in your body to find comfort. That is how you start to have compassion for yourself. You don't just do for the sake of doing, but you do because it feels right to you in your body. And then we'll start to just move into and out of some pelvic tilts. So as you inhale, see if your lower back can come off the floor. And then as you exhale, see how much you can press into the floor, lengthening from the nape of the neck to the tailbone. Inhale, release, and exhale, contract. And we'll just do a few more, taking your time, giving yourself what you need. And then when you feel ready, you're going to straighten your legs, straighten your arms. And what I'm going to say today is take a big yawn. And stretch one side longer than the other. And then interlace your hands behind your head. Now, if you are somebody who has shoulder issues, make sure you put a little pillow or a little blanket underneath your shoulder. There'll be your left shoulder in a moment. We're going to walk our shoulder blades over to the right. We're going to take our legs over to the right. And then drop your left shoulder, your left buttock, your left hip, and keep your left foot, your left leg, hip width apart away from your right. And breathe several breaths, long, deep, and even breaths into your left side. And just begin to let go of what you find. If for any reason this posture does not feel right to you today, then find something else to do that does feel right. That's the purpose of practicing Ahisma, finding compassion. Not all poses are going to be right for you. All right, when you're ready, we'll come back to center. And then we'll go off to the other side. So we'll walk our shoulder blades over to the left. Keep your head straight. Bring your legs over to the left. Drop your right shoulder. And if you need something underneath your shoulder, your upper arm, or your elbow, make sure you have something to put there. Drop your right rib cage down, your right buttocks, your right hip. Let your toes turn up to the ceiling. And just breathe into your right side. And then find your way back to center. Release your arms, place your feet back on the floor, and do a few more pelvic tilts. So inhale, let the lower back come off the floor. Exhale, and really contract and press. Make any movements that feels right to you. And then when you're done, take your legs a little bit wider apart and rock side to side. So as I lift my one side, I can really feel length coming in from that side on the back of the body and to the other. And then straighten your legs, straighten your arms. And once again, take one big yawn. Nice big stretch. Then place the feet on the floor. If you wish, you can bring the knees into the chest and rock again side to side. You can even move your knees forward and back. All right. And then whenever you're done, we're going to take our blanket, our bolsters. I'm going to use a block. I'm going to come underneath our tailbone. This gives us a nice stretch on that lower psoas muscle. I'm going to draw your attention to a few things today. So nothing under your head here. And then bring your right leg up and wrap your hands around your thigh, straightening your left leg. If you have trouble getting your hands around your thigh, remember to use your strap. The goal here is not to bring the knee close to the body, but instead push your leg into your interlaced hands, which broadens the collarbones. So I want you now to visualize your left inner thigh. Notice the sensations there. Now, if you're feeling, I don't really have sensations in my left inner thigh, I want you to notice, is your right knee coming over to the right? Do you feel like you're listing to the left? And if you are, slightly come over to the right and notice now if you have sensations in the inner left thigh, pointing your toes up to the ceiling. So your right knee is in line with your right ear. Your knee is not pulled out to the right, and you're breathing. So having compassion in these postures brings us into our own body. And oftentimes when we give to others, often we forget about ourselves. We don't pay attention to how we feel. But yoga teaches us to feel, to notice, to create length, to create space. And when you're done, you're just going to bring your left leg up, release your right, and come to the other side. So we're noticing now the right inner thigh. And notice if it's in the same general area. Notice if I have to do something different on this side that I didn't have to do on the other side. And then when you're done, release. And to lift out of the posture, you're going to contract the navel center to the spine in your exhale. Lift the buttocks gently off of whatever you're using and slowly lower down and move in and out of a few more pelvic tilts. Stretch your body long, nice big yawn again. And then take your feet as wide as the mat And let them go from side to side. And after you go a few times, drop them to one side and take 3 to 5 breaths. You're welcome to take a pillow or any kind of prop and put it underneath your thigh if you're going to hold it there. You can rock your head from side to side. And then drop if you're going to the right, drop your left shoulder blade, your left inner thigh. Reverse that if you're on the other side. And we'll take another 5 or 6 breaths here. And then when you're ready, you'll come up, readjust yourself, and then come to the other side. So now I'm dropping my right shoulder blade, my right inner thigh, letting the head rock side to side to release any tension that accumulates. And that's how I begin to learn about compassion within myself. How do I hold myself? What do I ignore? What do I am very aware of, but I go, oh, it's okay. Oh, it doesn't bother me. Well, yeah, this little da-da-da, whatever. So you want to find that. So if you're feeling a little bit too much on the side that you're turning to, the opposite side. So in this case, I'm turning my knees to the left. I'm going to bring my right knee up slightly towards the ceiling, and it lessens whatever I'm feeling. We'll take about 5 or 6 more breaths here. And then inhale up, readjust. Again, move in and out of pelvic tilts. And then you'll stretch your body long one more time. When you're done, you're going to bring your knees up or feet to the floor, roll over to your side, and slowly find your way up. We're going to, I want to do table, but instead of doing table, we're going to use the chair for cat and cow. So I'm going to bring my chair into view. So when you're ready, move slowly, coming up to standing, and then come bring your chair over to your mat. Excuse me. No, that wasn't very pleasant. Okay. So we're going to come onto our chair. I'm going to sit forward on my chair, and we just did a bunch of pelvic tilts on the ground. So now we're going to do this sitting. So as we exhale, we're going to pull the belly in and feel the sit bones sliding forward. Inhale, lift your chin, broaden the collarbones, sit bones move back. This is your inhale. Exhale, draw your chin down, round your shoulders, and pull the belly in. So you want to notice as you exhale the back body, especially around the shoulder blades. And then when you inhale, you can feel the lower back, the shoulder blades, the collarbone. So do a few more. One more. All right. And then from here, we're going to take our right hand over to our left thigh. We're going to take this left arm and we're going to bring it straight out, and then we're going to lift it up. So when you lift it up, if you don't turn your palm facing out, you feel weird in your shoulder, okay? You feel tight. So lift that arm up and then inhale and exhale back to center. We'll take the left arm over to the right, take the other arm up, and you'll notice I'm leaning into the opposite side. So that gives me a nice side stretch. So take your right hand over to your left, bring your left arm up and lift it up. Now, you might not want to do a side stretch. Maybe this is enough. Maybe, bring your hands down for a minute. Maybe when you cross your right arm over to your left, you get such a pull, it doesn't feel right. So here's compassion. Compassion says, in class, my teacher's doing this, but my body can't do that comfortably. So what do? Keep your hand on your thigh, lift your other hand. So we don't always have to cross the arm. But in this case, if it works for you, cross your hand over, lift, and then you get this nice little stretch along your side. So if you're unable to cross, don't worry. Do one more on each side. That's how we begin to find and receive our own compassion, our own gratitude. Come back to center and move into cat and cow again. We provide a mechanism in ourselves for healing. When we do that, because we're all very good, I mean, all of you out there that I know are so good at helping others. I'm very fortunate to know you. But in order for you to deal with your own issues, you have to find that compassion from within. Okay? Bring your hands behind your head, press your sit bones back, open your elbows wide. Exhale, contract, bring the elbows in, rounding, still cat and cow. Just a variation for our shoulders. Exhaling, contracting, pulling within. Inhale, opening to release. 2 more. Release. Wonderful. So we're going to get into the hips a little bit. So let's turn sideways. Put your hand on the back of the chair and drop that outside leg. So now we're going to get comfortable enough that we can not lean into the chair. We're going to push away from the chair and drop our hip down. So notice how your sit bones move backwards, which allows the whole back of the body to come forward. Your toes can be flat. I'm going to move my stuff so you can see me. Again, your toes can be flat, your toes can be turned under, and those of you who would like to live a little differently can push your leg backwards to get a little deeper stretch. Again, not about being here. Maybe this is just what works for you. Be there, okay? From here today, we're going to take our hand behind our head, press the hand into the skull and the skull into the hand. So now we get open in the collarbones as well as in the front body. We'll take an additional 3 breaths here. Now, if this doesn't work for you, you have other options with your hands, whether straight down, out to the side, goalpost, or wherever. From here, release and bring that leg up and come back to center. Do not go to the other side just yet. Be observant of the entire left side. Did you do too much? Did you do too little? Did you do just what your body needed from you? That's having compassion. That's practicing ahisma, the non-harming to the body. Don't go where you can't go, obviously. Your body's not going to go there. But also don't push yourself to the point of, I'm going to hurt in 2 hours. You want to just feel a nice, gentle stretch, strengthening. Let's now come to the other side. So start by pushing yourself away from the back of your chair. Adjust your front leg. Have your toes flat, turned under, or push your heel back. And then bring your hand behind your head, pressing your head into your hand and your hand into the head. Or if that doesn't work for you, anywhere else that does, pull the lower belly in and breathe. And then release. Come back to center. And slowly do some cat and cows. Moving within your sit bones. For those of you who, as soon as you started to do that, you went, oh, and you tightened up. Just start to, without moving your hands, just move on in your pelvis. And then slowly that will work its way out, and you can go deeper into the mid back, and then finally the upper back. Okay. All right. So we're going to come up. We're going to do a downward dog. I'm going to use the chair today with you, but if you prefer to do a downward dog right on your mat or the wall, feel free to do it any way that you want. So we're going to come stretch all that you've just worked out. So take your hands onto the seat of the chair, bend your knees, and get nice and long. And then I'm going to ask you to lift one heel, bending one knee, and go from side to side. So that's an added. Again, have compassion if that doesn't feel right to you. You're not doing that portion. And then when you're ready, see if you can grab your elbows hanging in a rag doll. If that doesn't feel good, come into a forward bend with a flat back. So we have options. And then take your arms out to the sides and come all the way up and release. Close your eyes, push your heels away, and notice all that you notice. What worked for you? Where did you go that was just right and feels wonderful? Where did you go that you went, not sure I should have gone there? That's how we learn. Remember, we don't want to pass judgment on ourselves, but we can notice what works and what doesn't work for us. Okay? All right. So we're going to do some hip openers, and you're going to face the long edge. You can use your chair. It's going to be this posture here. Okay? I'm going to use my blocks so that I can face you and you can see me. You're welcome to use your blocks or the chair. So when I do this posture, because I'm quite flexible, I typically don't use anything, but I'm going to show you the chair and the blocks. So we're going to take our feet wider than hip width apart and turn your heels slightly out. And then if it works for you, put your hands behind your head, roll to your little toe side, and you'll notice that your head pushes back into your hands and your hands push into the skull. This helps us to find length. Another way of doing that would be to put your hands right on your ribs. And as you roll to your little toe side, you can feel how the ribs separate, the collarbones open, and you get nice and tall. From here, we're going to bend our knees. So you will lose some of it, and we're going to hinge over. If you are using blocks, use your fingertips, okay? I'm going to come down here. You're going to either be on the block or the chair most likely. I'm going to take one arm up, and then we're going to inhale and exhale, and we're going to come back and forth. So if you're using the chair, and here you won't really be able to see me, but you'll be up here using the chair. It's the same thing. This is way too high for me. Probably may not be for you, okay? All right, so you have your legs open wide. And we're going to start by taking the right hand into the center, lift the left arm up, inhaling, exhaling down, inhale and exhale. And your knees can be slightly bent, but if it's possible, pull the belly in, lift through the heart. And we'll do 2 more on each side. Inhaling up, exhaling down. If you want to hold for a breath cycle or 2, feel free to do that. When you're done, walk your toes, heels, place your hands on your thighs, and then come up using your legs, let the fingertips touch, and exhale down. Marvelous. Okay. Shake everything out. Take your feet a little wider apart and make circles. Now notice when you're in a pelvic tilt. Notice how your breath is an exhale when you're in a pelvic tilt. And then you release to go in out of the pelvic tilt on your inhale. All right. And then shake all of that out. Let's take that block and put it right between your feet. You're not touching the block. And you're going to stand on your right leg and place your toes on the block, turning your heel to the inside of your calf, your shin. You'll notice that your left hip is coming forward. And I'd like you to bring your hands into whatever comfortable place, or even just down here, focusing on the contraction. So as I contract, my arms might want to come wherever they want to come, right? Maybe they just want to be here. Maybe they want to be here. So notice where it's comfortable for you. We'll take 3 more breaths. At the end of the 3rd breath, we're just going to switch and go to the other side. So most of you are very comfortable now in tree with your toes on the floor or on this block. But we're going to go to the wall today, and we're going to try something a little different, okay? Some of you may find that your toes will still be on the floor, and some of you will find a little change. Okay? So come on down, find your wall. I'm going to start with my right leg. My hand is on the wall. My arm is not here, so my shoulder stays down. And I get my distance so that my arm isn't straight and my arm isn't bent like I'm leaning into the wall. Almost the same color as my wall today. All right, we're going to bend the outside leg, the left leg here. We're going to pull the belly in, and you're going to start probably here. Right? But if it works for you, can you bring your foot up? I know, I'm hearing it in my head now. Oh, I can't bring my foot that high. Well, maybe you can't, but maybe you can bring it to your shin. Maybe you can bring it here. Maybe you want to stand the block up and put your toes on the block. See, many ways to find compassion in your body for a posture that may or may not be available to you. All right. So take some time to figure out where in your body you're most likely to feel comfortable. And when you're done, release. And I have to turn sideways here because I don't want to put my back to you. So I'm going to use this wall here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So find where your body's comfortable on this side. It might feel very different. So that work that we did in the inner groin on the floor is at play here. So whether your toes are on the floor, they're on the block, at whatever level you want to use your block with. Okay. And then when you're done, come into forward bend or a downward facing dog. And then come back up to standing. I'm bringing my chair back into view here. Come to the front of your mat. And you're going to have one hand on the outside. This is going to be probably your left leg. Stuff your left leg back, but you have the chair there to hold on to. So your hips are forward, okay? So your hips are forward, but I'm going to bring my left leg straight back, turn my left toes out, and my hand can be on the chair. I'm going to take my right arm and bring it straight up. And gaze straight ahead of you. So your hips are forward, your front knee is bent, pressing into the back outer heel. So again, we get into the bottom, the inside edges of that inner thigh. And then release your arm and bring the back leg forward. So we'll do the other side. Okay. So I'm going to start with my hips forward. I'm going to step my right leg back, put my hand on the chair, bend your left knee, and take your same arm. The leg that is bent, that arm is coming up to the ceiling. Again, if that doesn't work for you, take it out to the side, especially if you have neck or shoulder issues. And then release. Step your legs together. And then we'll do a downward dog. And then come on up to standing. I'm going to remove the chair and we're going to come down onto the floor. Now this time, we're going to come onto our belly for Sphinx posture. Today, I'm going to suggest, if you choose, to use your blanket or your bolster. I'm going to use my bolster. You're welcome to use your blanket. Now, when we did crocodile today, we had the blanket on our pelvis. We're going to have the blanket or the bolster underneath our rib cage. It's a restorative practice, and it's a very healing posture to work dynamically with your breathing. It also releases a lot of tension in the back of the body. So your elbows are directly under your shoulders, and you have your blanket or your bolster on, with your ribs on them. Now, if you don't like that, doesn't feel right to you, you can do the posture, as we've done many times, without a prop. And you're welcome to close your eyes and rock side to side or take your eyes to the tip of your nose and just watch the breath underneath the rib cage. So I'm wiggling around because I'm finding lots of tension or tightness in my body. So I'm trying to let go of that because I want to find, again, compassion. I want to give myself what I need. I want to practice Ahisman, the non-harming. I don't want to just get into a posture and say, okay, I'm there. But I want to try to work out the details, as I like to call them, of my tension. So breathe in and breathe out. Now, I know a lot of you have done this posture for many years, and you like to go a little deeper here. So if you do want to go deeper, keep your elbows where they are, but turn your fingertips out towards the long edge of your mat, and then lift. But when you lift, pull the belly in and draw your shoulders downward. Now, if you tend to slide, you can grab the edges of your mat. That sometimes works for people. And you can just be here, pressing your heels away to open, to let go. If you want to deepen this, you can bend your knees. Each way of working gets you deeper into the body. When you're ready to come down, I'm going to show you a child's pose. I know not everybody here does child's pose. So if you're not going to do child's pose, take out whatever's underneath you and come into crocodile. I'm going to walk my knees forward, and I like my bolster's just the right height. I can put my forehead on the bolster and I can rock side to side. So that might not be you, and that's okay. But you're just coming, if that's not you, you're going to come into crocodile just for a few breaths, and then we're going to come sitting up on the edge of a blanket or on your wall. Once you finish, come up and sit either against your wall. If you have trouble having your torso up, just sit against the wall or the back of your bed or back of a sofa or a chair, something that will support your back, okay? We're going to do a little side stretch here. So many of you might use a block. If your hamstrings are tight or you have bad knees, I hope by now you have near your yoga props, you have 2 hand towels or 2 rolled up pair of socks to put under your knees. You're going to take your left foot and turn it in. And you're going to support your bent thigh with your bolster, not your bolster probably, but a pillow, a blanket, whatever you need, okay, underneath that, so that your sit bones anchor you into the floor. Then take your right palm, turn it up, so out. Shoulder, you don't want to pull, you're just nice and light. And again, I'm going to give you a couple of methods. We've been working the shoulders a lot today. Pull the belly in and up, feel your sit bones anchoring you. You can use a prop to have your hand on, because if it doesn't reach the floor. You can take your hand behind your head, and you're going to pull the belly in and open. You can also do this with your arm out or your arm bent. So again, many options. Find the one that gets you. The goal here is not where your arm is. It's about how to open the collarbones, how to release the back. So press back, press down to lift up, and then bring your arm wherever you want and begin to hinge to your right. Now, as you do this, turn your head either over your right leg or towards your left armpit. Again, depending on what feels right for you, okay? And some of us might just have our hand on the block, putting the block wherever is needed to open. And we'll take just a few more breaths here, maybe 3 or 4. And then we'll inhale up. We're going to switch legs. Moving back so my foot's not cut off from you. All the tricks. Okay. So you're wedging, you're using your hand as a wedge to open the collarbones, whether your hand is on the floor, on a prop, out, wherever it is, begin to feel the side of your body. So now my right sit bone is pressing down. I'm wedging, I'm opening, and I can gaze over my straight leg if that feels right, or I can gaze through my armpit. And then when you're done, release. And then bring your legs together, take the soles of your feet and just rock back and forth. Now we're going to come onto our back. So if you've taken anything off, put it back on. You're going to use your bolsters or your block. We're going to go into Konasana. So we're going to go into this posture, but rather than doing it from sitting, we're going to recline, okay? We're going to make our bodies feel better. All right, so you're going to recline. I'm just moving my props out of the way here. And we'll lay back. If you want something under your head, take the soles of your feet together. And so now your thighs are resting on the bolster. Your arms can be in goal pose. Your arms could be overhead. They can be on your belly. Again, choose something that feels right to you. So that you are in that zone of giving yourself what you need. When we learn the art of compassion within ourselves and we give ourselves what we need, it becomes easier and actually more satisfying to ourselves. We begin to notice little things that we might not have noticed earlier. So now the inner thighs are releasing to the outer thighs. And your collarbones are nice and open, and you've got this nice deep breathing where you can feel the expansion underneath the rib cage. So you're lowered from all the work that you have done, the challenges that you found yourself in today. We're letting go. At any time that you would like to straighten your legs over the bolster for relaxation posture, feel free to do that. And just continue to notice how you surrender the effort. So for those of you who are still in Konasana in angle posture, take a few more breaths before you start to straighten your legs over the bolster for a final posture of relaxation. So we'll all join up in Shavasana. And you might want to wiggle around just to finalize any remaining tension that is being held on that you can try to let go of. And begin to notice how the front of the body releases into the back body, and how the back body releases into the floor. Notice the release of the hip joints and the inner thighs, the heels and the toes. So draw your attention to the entire lower portion of your body. And as you exhale, see where you can release a little bit more. And then draw your awareness from the toes and the toe tips through the backs of the legs to your tailbone and buttocks. Notice if there's tension or tightness in your buttocks. And begin to say to yourself, buttock cheeks, let go. And say that over and over again with each subsequent exhalation, bringing your awareness not only to the buttocks, but to the tailbone, to the sacrum. Using the 5 qualities of your breathing, slow, deep, and even, without sound and without pause, pay attention to what actually releases above and below the space that you're targeting. And then travel up the back to the space at the back of the heart, the space between the shoulder blades, and ask yourself, can I release a little bit more here? Can I surrender the effort of my heart? So notice that as you spend time at the space between the shoulder blades, you can actually inhale to the front of the body, to the breastbone. And as you exhale, exhale and allow the front of the body to release to the back of the body. And then take that back of the body and see if you can release a little bit more. And then travel up into the center of the mind, noticing how the muscles of the face have begun to let go, how the eyes rolled into their sockets a little bit more. Notice how the eyes soften, the muscles of the face release. And the mind becomes quieter. Now take a moment just to continue to watch your breath, or to use the mantra so on the inhalation, hum on the exhalation. So hum means I am that I am. Contemplating your role in finding compassion, in your role of giving, not just to others anymore, but to yourself. In Western society, we call that being selfish. From a yogic philosophy perspective, it's nothing to do with being selfish, because we have to give to ourselves in order to give to others. So notice what you notice, sense what you sense, feel what you feel. So hum. With nowhere to go and nowhere to be, but to be at home in your body, to rest in your awareness of what works and what doesn't work, and to be, so that you can, in this time of giving, not only give to others, but to give the gift of yourself to yourself. Now bring your awareness to your navel center and begin to notice the breath a little bit more here. And then bring your hands to your heart center, feeling the warmth and feeling the love that the center of your chest offers you. The word that is used again and from yoga is Shanti. Shanti means peace. May you have peace within you. May you have peace around you. And may you find yourself being peaceful over the next week. And as you feel ready, begin to let go of your prayer position, hands over your heart. And begin to rock your head from side to side. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And slowly take a big stretch, a big yawn. And then bring your knees into your chest. Roll over to your side. And finally, come up to sitting. Once you enter your sitting posture, take your hands to your heart again. Bow your head gently, peering within, feeling quiet, feeling santosha, contentment, finding your peace, your shanti. You gave yourself a gift, and every time you get on your mat, you give compassion to yourself so that you can find compassion and give that to others. Namaste.